I am Liz Powell. I am the founder and head of Women's Health Advocates, as well as G2G Consulting. Thank you all for dialing in. Appreciate all the support this past year, our very first year, and welcome new people. We always welcome new folks to the team, to our advocacy efforts. I am going to go through these slides and hopefully have time for Q&A. You can always put things in the chat box. If you have a specific question, they'll put that in the question box because otherwise we'll miss it in the chat box probably because there's so much activity there, which is great. So today's agenda is on the next slide. And we are covering, most importantly, our thank yous. And then we'll go over some accomplishments from 2025. Wanted to do an explanation of the difference between nonprofits versus businesses versus PACs when it comes to political engagement. And I've gotten lots of questions and I think there's been some confusion. So I want to cover that and then give some legislative updates on what's going on, what we're active in, 2026 plans, and then how you can get involved. Next slide, please. So I want to start with a big thank you to our sponsors. We would not have been able to do all that we did in our first 10 months without all of you. Thank you for your sponsorship, for believing in us, for making sure that we were effective in our grassroots mobilization and our advocacy on Capitol Hill. It's been truly amazing. You're all really inspiring. Many of you have spoke at events. We'll be speaking at more events coming up this year. So I really wanted to thank all of you, and a special thank you to our Catalytic Impact Foundation, that is our main nonprofit partner for those who want to donate to a nonprofit to advance our efforts in women's health. Those with donor advised funds can work directly with Catalytic Impact Foundation. Next slide, please. I also want to give a big thank you for those who made possible our JP Morgan event, which is coming up next week on the 13th. Thank you to AOA DX for doing a phenomenal report, first ever report on all exits touching women's health. It's going to be amazing, the data they are producing for all of us to use going forward. I want to thank Goodwin and HSBC Bank and Cure for being our sponsors and making sure this event happens. We have over 500 registered for this. So, and it keeps, I keep getting texts and LinkedIn messages, etc. So there's just a lot of energy and excitement. Next slide shows you all the people who are speaking, phenomenal experts in finance and in women's health. And we're going to close out with an analysis of the policy implications of having the incorrect data on these investments all these years. But now that we have the correct data, what does that mean going forward? So amazing experts, many of our leaders within Women's Health Advocates are the speakers. So I'm super excited about this event. Next slide, please. I want to thank you, our volunteers. You have ensured that we made these accomplishments over the next 10 months that we have in the next slide. Shows the members of our community has grown to over 4,000. We're all 50 states, 19 countries, almost 1,800 letters to Congress. This online congressional briefing had the biggest turnout ever. Of course, the topic was menopause. Everything's all things menopause. Phenomenal speakers and moderator for that event. And then you can see all these events across the country, 13 different events over the past 10 months, 3 Capitol Hill days, 4 online events, including 2 congressional briefings with huge turnouts, 4 committees actively engaging in policy shaping and advocacy and lobbying efforts right now. There's many more that are getting launched. And then 3 fundraisers. Our leaders helped support 3 candidates who are making women's health their top priority, bipartisan, 2 Democrats, Jamie Belcito and Lisa Shaw, and then incumbent Senator Susan Collins. So we are directly engaging in politics to help shape women's health. Next slide, please. Just a quick show of our awesome events, our Capitol Hill days in April, May, and June. Many of you will see your faces there. You're awesome, happy, amazing faces. Next slide shows Chicago, Detroit, Pittsburgh, San Francisco events. Next slide shows Los Angeles, Boston, New York events. And then having a
Sorry,
little.
my computer's going a little slow here.
Okay, Los Angeles, Boston, New York, and then the What's Your Why that we do at all of these events. And the next slide. Um, Always very moving, very inspiring to see what people care most about. And we definitely see, no matter where people are in the country, people care about the same issues. So that's really neat. So thank you, our volunteers, for making all this possible. All your support is truly inspired me, energizes me, and I just am so, so grateful. Next slide, I want to go over the difference between nonprofits, businesses, and PACs when it comes to politics. So 501c3 nonprofits can devote 20% of their budgets to advocacy, um, and they have to register in all 50 states if they're raising money. So that's actually pretty expensive to do all those filings. 501c4 nonprofits, they cannot do advocacy as their primary activity. They can do it though. They must register in all 50 states of raising money, just like a 501c3, but they can devote 60% of their budgets and time to social welfare and 40% to political engagement and advocacy. The donations are not tax deductible, though, which they are for nonprofits that are 501c3s, as we all know. And it's illegal to make direct cash or in-kind contributions to federal candidates or PACs. Corporations cannot make political contributions to federal candidates and national political parties. In some states, though, corporations can donate directly to state and local candidates. So there are nuances there. And PACs can make contributions to candidates and other PACs. Corporations can set up PACs to make these contributions, but all finances must be publicly reported to FEC, and it's illegal for nonprofits to coordinate with PACs. Women's Health Advocates is none of these. We are really considered a client of G2G. So we're allowed to lobby 100% of the time. We can galvanize grassroots movements and organize political events as long as there are individual contributions made. So no business or nonprofit could ever write a check, to be clear, to a PAC or a candidate. But if you are an individual leading a company, if you're an individual leading a nonprofit, you, of course, can do your own personal check. So hopefully that clarifies the differences between all of those. Next slide, please. So here are some of our legislative successes from the past year. And we've talked about these a lot. So the appropriations process is still getting finished. The CR expires. Excuse me. Expires on January 31st. So we are seeing top line agreement on numbers and a schedule to bring the bills to the floor. So we think that they'll get this done. We are optimistic about that. And you can see the different funding lines that we saw in the House and the Senate versions. They have to conference this out and get the final levels, but it does look like things are doing well for Office of Research on Women's Health, for ARPA-H, and then a lot of these language references that we're clarifying, like the definition of women's health and other aspects of women's health, should be in that final bill. And we obviously will comb through it all and let you know when that comes out. But we had a lot of success there. We definitely have our fingerprints in a lot of areas of those bills. The Find It Early Act is another major accomplishment of this group, and specifically the Breast Cancer Early Detection Coalition. We had a huge number of original co-sponsors and building more and more co-sponsors because of the Zoom Hill meetings that we did all throughout October. Really made an impact. So, and we did some in person, actually. That was during the shutdown, some in person, but a lot by Zoom. So that was huge. And next slide, please. So some legislative updates. What's going on now? So 162 in the House and 78 in the Senate, different bills on women's health have been introduced thus far in this Congress. So that's exciting to see. Women's health is still getting a lot of attention. The FY26 and 27 funding process. So they are supposed to finish, as I said, they're bundling some of these bills together to bring them to the floor this week and next week. So we're hoping that they will have this ready in time for the continuing resolution that expires. The issue around the ACA subsidies, it looks like that which caused the 43-day shutdown, the longest ever. It looks like that is not going to cause a shutdown this time, that they are working, they actually are negotiating a plan now. But all this will delay the FY27 appropriations process, which normally is supposed to get started around now. So I think that'll be delayed by a month or two. But based on what happens in FY26, that will determine what we submit for 27. I'm already in good conversations, collaborations with other women's health organizations and companies around coordinating all our submissions so that we can echo each other and amplify and be as strong as possible in the process for 27. And then back to ACA subsidies. So the deal that Majority Leader Thune is working on, what he is requiring is that there's minimum premium payments and other restrictions around the ACA subsidies extension. He wants to provide a stronger bridge to ACAs and basically expand their use, which are health savings accounts. And then the Thune wants to make sure that the Hyde abortion federal funding ban stays in place, while Democrats are obviously opposed to that. So those are sort of the three pillars that Thune is requiring. And there is a bipartisan effort going on now to work on something to at least help with the fact that there's been a 114% rise in these ACA fees for about 20 million subsidized enrollees. So it's a huge impact. It's impacting all of us, though. All of us are seeing all our rates go up because that in combination with the Medicaid cuts. So it's a difficult time, but at least there are efforts underway to negotiate that. SBR reauthorization. So those of you that are running small businesses that are in the life sciences space, I'm sure you heard about this and are feeling the pain of these being stopped because they have the SBR reauthorization has not happened by Congress. While it was passed by the House, the Senate is stalled because Senator Ernst has specific language that she wants to see included instead of what they call a clean SBR reauthorization. So we are teaming up with Eva Garland and Garland Associates to do a big push, just like we did before a few years ago around the innovation tax impacting small businesses in the innovation space, which we succeeded on. We got that innovation tax removed. So we're going to do the same big lobbying push. So if you're interested in that, watch out for those emails and ways to engage. We're going to do a letter. We got all 50 states on last year. We're going to do the same thing this year. And actually, they published our report on the Ways and Means Committee website. So we want to make sure we have that same impact this round. Endo and ADNO legislation. So Nicole Notard deserves a ton of credit for this. She's really been the driving force leading our committee. But we had a great call with Congresswoman Williams' office. They are working with Legislative Council now to draft this legislation that we proposed to them. They're taking in some edits. They will be talking with some groups. We will help facilitate that. But the plan is to be able to drop this bill by March for Endometriosis Awareness Month. And we are also trying to do Hill activity around that as well. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Some other things that we're tracking and we're engaging on, we are going to submit comments for the FDA study of sex differences in the clinical evaluation of medical products. We are, thanks to Sarah Head, actually deserves a huge credit. She wrote this letter for the CDC's pregnancy risk assessment monitoring system comment period. And then HHS announced their National Conference on Women's Health. They actually had it last year, but they didn't have any details out. I've been going back and forth with Dr. Fink on this. And they are, looking for speakers and abstracts. And my colleague is going to post in the chat box, and I'll do it again at the end, this registration link. We have a few links for you guys. There's the registration and abstract link. They are looking for specific areas. There's 4 specific areas that they're focused on: preventing and reversing chronic diseases, sex is a biological variable, the female cycle as a vital sign, and then optimizing health during menopause. Yay, menopause, which is a hot topic, especially for this administration because they removed that black box label at the very end of last year. So those are just some among many things that we're working on and issues that are happening right now in Congress. So for 2026, we'll move on to the federal advocacy slide. We're going to keep working on federal appropriations, the Find It Early Act, committee policy agendas. That means we want to really use these committees that we've created through Women's Health Advocates to develop individual policy agendas and then start to implement them. We're keen to keep doing letters, meetings, and briefings. Those congressional briefings have been super powerful. Those letters have had an impact in Congress. And then these meetings, really powerful meetings where we have that combination of the patient experience, the clinician, the business executive, the investor, like having all those different sectors come together has been really powerful and educational for the Hill. The March Endometriosis and adenomyosis Hill Day is something that we're working, as I mentioned earlier, in a Hill briefing. So we are working to get the date finalized now and teaming up with Endo Foundation and many others. So we will have more to come on that. May will be our Women's Health Capitol Hill Day, the second annual, and it will be followed by the Illuminators event. It's a one-day conference the following day. That we're finalizing logistics on that, but the July Breast Cancer Early Detection Coalition Hill Day will happen again. That's tied with the events the annual event that they do with the softball game to raise money for breast cancer for young breast cancer patients. Next slide are state advocacy. So we want to be tracking state activity, collaborate with organizations. There's great organizations like what Claire Gill is already running with Menopause Society or Foundation around what over 30 states have already done in menopause. So we want to just tag team with her and sort of amplify what she's doing. And then with menopause, with many of these different health issues, provide model legislation that you all can then lobby for on the state level, and we'll provide trainings on how to do state advocacy, and then help with some of these Capitol Hill State House days for the year. And then politics. Next slide, please. We are going to be monitoring key races. That's those races that are persuadable districts. We'll have more online briefings tied to elections. We'll do voter registration, guidance, marketing campaign to drive people to vote for women's health, and then targeted events. We're doing an 8-part series that we're launching in February called Beyond the Ballot, Voting for Women's Health and Advocating for Change. That is organized by Beyond the Paper Gown, Community Catalyst, Springboard, and obviously us at Women's Health Advocates. Thank you to Dr. Mitzi Krockover, who really took the lead in pulling this together. Really excited. We'll have more details on that coming up. Next slide just gives you a rundown of these key races that we're watching, at least for now. Things will change. I'm sure you saw that there was sudden passing of a Republican congressman that makes the 5-seat difference now between Democrats and Republicans in the House. So things like that can really mess with this. So we'll be watching. There's other current events, obviously, what's going on with Trump and Venezuela, his polling, like all sorts of things will shape the elections and what we're tracking and what becomes a priority race. But for now, this is what we're looking at. So next slide goes over ways to get involved. So right now we're still doing big pushes for FY26 funding bill. We want to make sure that our health funding language and funding lines prevail in the final version, which we expect to be on the floor January 19th week. So we still have time to shape that. And then the Find It Early Act will be pushing that all year. Next slide, please. You can join a committee. So we've got our health conditions and other committee meetings coming up. And again, we'll post in the chat box the links so you can sign up for all of these. But this was in the newsletter from December and again today. So the Endo committee's been super active all year. The FDA Pathway Committee, they've got a call tomorrow. The Breast Cancer Detection Coalition continues to be super active every second Wednesday of the month. Maternal Health Committee, we've done a few meetings there. Again, the Endo has their bi-weekly call, and then the Menopause Committee is getting active as well. The next slide shows you the regional committees that are active. So we've got Arizona coming up January 16th, New York, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, and there'll be more. Next slide, you can help plan and come to events. The first event of 2026 is in Birmingham, Alabama, thanks to Nadia Richardson. It will be January 23rd, which is Maternal Mental Health Day at the Birmingham Botanical Gardens, and our focus will be on Black women's maternal health. We will have an RSVP link up, and this is all due to the Black Women's Mental Health Institute and the Women's Health Foundation of Alabama coming together to organize all this. Nadia's really been phenomenal in pulling this together. So we will send out more details as we are finalizing our speakers, our graphic for the event, and then the registration link. So we will send that to you in the coming weeks. Next slide, you can join our steering committee. For individual level, it's $2,000 for the year. So whenever you join, it's the next 12 months. For business sponsorships, it starts 5,000. It goes up from there. You can shape our policy, speak at events, access expertise and intel, be part of this powerhouse network of some of the most phenomenal people I've ever met. I keep learning from them. I'm inspired by them. It's truly an amazing group. We had this great in-person retreat in December. We'll be doing that again in 2026. We have these exclusive invitations and events like that luncheon with Susan Collins. So Senator Susan Collins. So lots to come there. And then we are creating an executive committee for 2026 that are for sponsorships of 25K and above. That is all of the above, obviously, as well as private meetings with me and more direct interaction and collaboration with me and our lobbying team to position for direct relationship development with key decision makers in government. And then premier promotion in all our events, obviously on our website, social media, as like the champion for women's health. And obviously we have a broad reach to a lot of consumers, businesses, and others that could be helpful to businesses working on helping as many women as possible, many people as possible. So that is our rundown of ways to get involved. And then the next slide is a great picture from our recent steering committee retreat. You can see all of us on the Hill. We did some Hill meetings. And then the upper right, it might be hard to see, but that's our team coming together for our retreat. And then with Senator Collins. And then that's sort of our active discussion moment. So then last slide. So let's make 2026 the year of women's health voting. I think 2025 was definitely the year of women's health advocacy. 2024 was the year of women's health. And now it's time to really make sure that we are shaping the elections and the whole landscape of women's health. So excited to work with you all on this, and we can take down the slides and take any questions. Thanks. People have questions for the Q&A box. Oh, here it is.
So there's a question about people that have signed up for some of the committees but have yet to receive invites. I think those are probably just coming out. Everyone who's running those are volunteers, correct, Liz?
Yeah, but we are asking people to register for the first call of any, that's really the first two calls of any committee. So in our newsletter we sent out this morning, it had a link to register. So we need people to register so that we can send our leaders an organized Excel sheet of all the people who are going to be on that call. So if you registered for the call, you should have the dial-in information. There is a private Excel sheet that's on a Google online sheet that Kara really set up and has been managing. So, but that's for steering committee to sign up. So other than that, there shouldn't be any other sign up where someone's not getting a response. So hopefully that addresses that. Yeah, I am trying to cut and paste. I don't know, Katie, if you're able to cut and paste.
I can't. It won't let me paste anything. Are you having?
It won't let me paste anything either. And Heather, I don't know if Heather is listening because I think she's multitasking. So we have no way to paste it. I don't know what is wrong with our Zoom.
That's weird.
I've been trying repeatedly. Okay, more questions. What's the best way to learn more about FDA study of sex? Well, you could read it. And if I could cut and paste the link, I will. Oh, now I'm allowed to cut and paste. So I just cut and pasted the conference. Someone asked about the conference link. So that's the link for to register, and then the link to submit an abstract. We definitely, in our steering committee call, we're going to talk about submitting abstracts and getting our leaders positioned there. And then the FDA one, I have to find the link here to post but I actually have a PDF of it. If you want to just email me, I'll email you that's easier. I can email it. Oh, now it won't let me paste again. Okay. Would love to see an intersection between identification of key races and medical practitioners running for office. That's a great one. We are tracking, like Tina Shaw definitely is a doctor. Jamie is not a doctor, but she's close to it. She's dedicated her life to maternal mental health. And she has been very active on the front lines of advocacy and policy and clinical care. So there are folks who are experts although not clinicians running in addition to the clinicians. We definitely want as many clinicians running for office as possible so we can provide more information on that crossover between those that are running and those that actually have medical backgrounds. So yes, love that. We will do that. I signed on for the maternal health committee in New York last week, but haven't seen an invite come through. Just checking in to see if on the calendar. Okay. So if you signed up for those calls, you should have received a link to dial in. So if you did not receive that, then please send me an email and I'll make sure you get that. Is there an estimate of likelihood and timing of SBI reinstate? No. Nope. There is no progress on that. I'm very frustrated by that, but we will be pushing hard on that in January for SBI reauthorization. Hopefully it'll become so painful that they have to do it. Hopefully by March. I'd love for it to be sooner, but it might take a while before they finally cave. Can you nudge the HHS to make the conference virtual? We don't have time such to fly DC. Yeah, I totally understood. Yep. Yep. I can ask Dr. Fink about that. Thank you on both questions. Oh, great. Yes. Okay. We are right at time, 12:30. Okay, I'm going to try and cut and paste again the links for the committees, but you all should have gotten the email this morning on how to sign up for these committee calls. Yeah, it's just not letting me do it. Okay. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe I could post it in Q&A box. Oh, that's disappeared actually. Okay. Please look for the newsletter. It's in the newsletter. And we will be back the first Wednesday of the month for our Women's Health Advocates call. And then next Wednesday is the Breast Cancer Early Detection Coalition call. So we will have the links ready for that one to make sure that we don't have this challenge next time. Thank you all for dialing in. And steering committee, we will see you on the steering committee call right now. If you don't have the link, as usual, send me a text and I'll make sure you get it. Thank you all and happy 2026. Bye.